Alrighty friends, we have made it to our final set of videos and Emma's back. Alright friends, we've made it to our final set of videos and this is talking a little bit more about WLC culture and specifically what the leadership team intends to do around this year's WLC culture. So to start, WLC is known as a lot of things, and often it's called the Super Bowl of Hobies. And while the World Leadership Congress certainly outweighs locals in terms of length and in size, it's not just a bigger, longer seminar. If you're new to the WLC this year, the first and most important difference you'll notice at the WLC is that our ambassador group is comprised of students from all around the world. Historically, we've seen anywhere from 10 to 15 countries represented at the WLC, and typically each ambassador group will have 2 to 3 international students and 9 to 10 domestic students, all from different states. The WLC program is also different than a local Hobie seminar. The local Hobie curriculum focuses on 3 phases of leadership: personal, group, and community leadership. The WLC curriculum adds a 4th phase, global citizenship. Through this phase, the program fosters challenging and engaging conversations around understanding the sustainable development goals and how ambassadors can take action within their communities. As I mentioned, the WLC is larger than any local Hobie and runs much longer, a total of 7 days with ambassadors. This, by far, is one of the biggest adjustments for staff when they first attend a WLC. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And this year, the leadership team has spent a significant amount of time thinking about how we can learn from our past and ensure that this year's WLC culture best supports a positive experience for both our ambassadors and for you. Which brings me to my next topic. We've made some changes to this year's WLC. Some things you've already learned a little bit about, such as different positions we put into this year's organizational chart. But since you all have joined the team, the leadership team, guided by the informed work of our Vice Chair of Inclusive Wellness, has committed to a few specific areas of focus. We'll talk about them here, and I'll provide a link below to a document that explains everything in great detail. The first thing I want to talk about is sleeping and taking breaks. I know so much of our Hobie culture is built on the backs of bedtime bandits who can't stop, won't stop. But this year's going to be different at WLC. The Hobie International requirement is that ambassadors are given the opportunity to sleep for at least 7 hours each night. Since the WLC program requires more stamina than a local Hobie conference, we have bumped that up to 8 hours each night. This means that staff too will have an opportunity for an extra hour of sleep, so 7 hours for you as well. Further, the program team is working hard to try to ensure that each day we wake up, eat, and go to bed around the same time. This consistency will help all of us, especially our international participants, adjust to the robust WLC schedule. Something returners will notice is different this year is that our all-staff WLC meetings will no longer occur during creative activities. This year, the ambassador staff and section meetings will take place during that time. Instead, all staff, every single member of this team, will meet briefly after bed checks. We are 1000% committed to keeping these meetings on schedule and ending promptly so that staff members can get a break and go to bed. Speaking of which, we have one more improvement to help you get more sleep this year. No more homework! We understand that many volunteers lose precious sleep each night due to assignments given to them as part of their roles and responsibilities at WLC. Sometimes it's asking you to write something up for the yearbook or review a bunch of content that has to go out. Whatever it is, if we ask you to do it, we will strive to give you commiserate time to get it done. When we say that we're done for the day and you can go to bed, we no longer want you to have to worry about extra Hobie homework before you can finally fall asleep. Finally, we also heard you when you told us that you need more break time at WLC. So this year, we will ensure that every team supports each other in receiving multiple breaks, including for facilitators. The next topic I want to discuss is our effort to help foster a zero-cost volunteer experience outside of your travel. So first, we will not be facilitating gift giving at WLC this year. This cost has historically compounded on our volunteers, adding up to sometimes hundreds of dollars. This year, we ask that you refrain from gift giving, and we will collectively commit to not coaxing each other into group gifts. The closing staff appreciation event will not include time to exchange gifts, and instead we'll focus on non-monetary appreciation of each other and the accomplishments that we've made together. Next, we have allocated funds for each section to purchase swag for ambassadors. However, we ask that you do not personally purchase swag for your ambassador group. Though we all love swag and still want swag to be a part of the WLC, we recognize that it can create unnecessary financial and emotional pressure on facilitators and section leaders. That said, you are welcome to swag yourself out however you wish. Wear your bright blue sneakers, pink tutus, and crazy yellow hats. Just please don't purchase these items for the ambassadors. Let us leverage the Hobie budget for items that directly benefit the ambassadors instead. On that note, we will also not be decorating group rooms this year, but we will provide supplies to all facilitators so that your group rooms can still be personalized. Just like swag, group room decoration is something that can create yet another financial burden on our valuable volunteers. Group rooms are meant to be an important space for facilitators and their ambassadors to connect and converse, but ultimately decorations are not what most of our ambassadors will remember about that time together. But wait, there's more! Though I'd love to take more time to talk about all of the great areas of focus the Inclusive Wellness team is exploring, we're running out of time. So you can expect to see more improvements coming from this team having to do with the WLC banquet, staff recognition, issues of wealth and class, inclusion of international chaperones, food, and much more. Read more about why we made these changes and how we're implementing them using the document linked below. Our last stop for today's training is exploring our expectations for WLC 2019. For many of us, the WLC is one of the most exciting and special events of our year. But why? Why is the promise of this singular event so important to so many of us? As you can probably imagine, the WLC is pretty special to me. This year marks my 10th WLC as a volunteer, and when I think about what matters most, I think about all of you. Each and every one of you has different reasons for choosing to give your time to Hobie and the WLC. I'm so grateful for you and what you're willing to do, but not nearly as grateful as the collective appreciation of the 420 ambassadors that none of us have even met yet. It's kind of crazy how we're all ready and willing to do this huge labor of love, and we don't even know who it's for yet. Listen, WLC is a lot of work. It's hard, and it's worth it. I think you all know by now that the leadership team and I are driven by love and intentionality. We are committed to ensuring that this year's WLC is the best yet, but everything we do is with the hope that we will learn from our past and the present in order to build a better future for all of the WLCs to come. As we close today, I want to ask you to take a few minutes to seriously reflect on the questions below. Take your time. There's no word or time limit. I promise to review everything you say and take it all to heart. Okay, that's all for now. Look for the next training module in just a couple of weeks. Thank you for everything you do, including filling out this form. I love you lots. Bye.